Recently, the World Health Organization announced that drug-resistant tuberculosis, or TB, is now at record levels. Top multinational business and nonprofit leaders met in New York to discuss the role of the private sector in curbing the spread of TB, as global health leaders recognize the crucial role that businesses must play in the fight against this deadly disease. Here are some of the meeting's highlights.
9 million people with TB every year, 1.7 million people dying, 2 billion people infected with the bacteria, 1/3 of the world population.
TB is the #1 killer of people living with HIV around the world, the #1 killer.
We don't have biomarkers that are qualified to diagnose a patient as recurring or relapsing, or if they have protection against disease. So many components across the healthcare delivery system are lacking, and that makes treatment in developing countries much more difficult.
When you think about it, TB exists or coexists with the other big pandemics, with HIV and malaria. Investing in just HIV or investing in malaria without addressing the fundamental issues of TB prevention and TB control is a waste of money. It's folly.
TB is not a medical problem, ladies and gentlemen. TB is an economic problem. It's a development problem. It is a political problem.
From a business standpoint, this is important because drug-resistant tuberculosis is emerging most rapidly in emerging markets. China, India, Russia, and the former Soviet Union are the countries that are hardest hit by drug-resistant tuberculosis, right? This is where the business community is making its biggest investments.
One company or just the private sector alone cannot make it.
Right.
This is why we're talking about these partnerships, public-private partnerships. That's the way to go.
Partnership, partnership, partnership. In partnership, we will conquer TB.
So we have a 3-way collaboration with Emergent, and that is MBA 485. That's in phase 2B. So phase 2B for I guess in decades. I guess this is probably one of the first another TB vaccine candidate that's going into phase 2B.
So that health system development piece starts clearly from an R&D perspective. We always need new medicines and medicines that are available to patients faster. But there are also huge issues from an educational perspective. Education for patients so that they recognize when they need to seek help. How can they lower the risk of getting infected? From a healthcare provider perspective, how do healthcare providers in the field, which are often very rural and remote areas, have the ability to recognize symptoms and diagnose them and treat them early?
Right. But technology alone is not the answer. So this is why we've been investing a lot also in healthcare strengthening. In Uganda, the situation is that they have about 500 what they call health posts, which is where patients go to give the sample, the sputum sample, right? Most of them have no addresses. They are not on any known road. The 2 people from Baltimore went there with a GPS system and mapped all these 500 posts to make sure that people knew where they were, how to get there, and also when they taught also the postal services and so on how to package and send and where to send the sample. So it can be as simple as things like that. If people don't know where to go, if they cannot find this health post, that's an issue.
In addition, they recognize that building capacity to diagnose and treat TB also creates an infrastructure that can be sustained and applied to other future health crises.
So if we're able to engage, and through GBC, I would say, through World Economic Forum, I would say, all these companies that are not engaged, I think 2010 could be a great year because there is such a huge potential out there that we are not yet using.
For more information, go to gbcimpact.org/TB.